Ubisoft has needed a win for a while. X Defiant was absolutely terrible. Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws completely underperformed. Like that game was actually supposed to be good, but nobody bought it and played it. X Defiant ended up getting canceled, so Ubisoft has really needed a win, and I think with Assassin's Creed Shadows, they really have that potential to have a victory here and have a lot of people like it'll be a comeback for them, I think. They delayed Shadows in order to remove themselves further from the controversy. The controversy for Assassin's Creed Shadow ended up being the fact that they had uh, Black Man as the protagonist, the main protagonist in the game. Honestly, I think it's a good choice for them to do that, to have the black guy as the face of the game. They finally have the nerve to drop the strong white male protagonist as the cover art character. For the last 5 Assassin's Creed releases, they have shied away from like any sort of controversy with their choice of protagonist. Even like to the point of like for their female characters, they're the alternative to the main character, which is a male. So here they have a minority as front and center character. I say good for Ubisoft for finally sticking to their guns. In fact, some internet discourse kind of led me to believe that, or they suggested that the delay to March was so that they might remove Yasuke from the game. But I'm glad to see that they're not doing that. Uh, they're they're sticking to their guns, and Ubisoft is correct for doing that. And I think that it it'll pay off. I believe. The reason I'm showing Origins gameplay is because this is the first true Assassin's Creed RPG release that they did. I say RPG in the sense that you're able to focus on your skills and perks to like a specific kind of gameplay, and also choose items and gear that increases certain stats like damage or health. So you can like focus on stealth, you can focus on just being a brute, or things like that. That's how you can, like glass cannon, you could be a glass cannon sort of. There's weapons that give you like a curse, so to speak, that makes it so that you only have a third of your health bar, and whereas your damage will be increased, so you become a glass cannon. Pretty cool. I like how they made it so they could do that. That's really how it's an RPG. It's not really an RPG as far as the story mode is concerned. Story mode and side quests even, they're all just linear. So you don't get to role play as much in that way. The gameplay, however, is Origin's strong suit. The developers deliver in spades. Origins is a massive step up from previous games when you're fighting NPCs. It's no longer you counter them and then you get a free kill. You have to actually break their guard before you can start damaging them. Once you break their guard, you do a guard break or a counter, then you can start damaging them. But you have enemies on all sides of you trying to get you and take you down. So it's very hard to just counter one enemy and then focus on killing them all the way down and then go on to the next enemy, because the others are going to be getting on you while you're working on them. As you can see in this gameplay, enemies usually come in groups, and when they are alerted in a fort, they come after you in swarms. So you're never really just fighting one guy. You've got groups that you're having to deal with. So something that people didn't like about this game, or the public, kind of was swayed to lean in this direction, is that assassinations were not possible unless you like really spec'd into it for your build, and that's just a falsehood. Like, you don't have to develop the character that much to be able to do assassinations. In fact, as long as you stay in the story mode areas that the game pushes you towards in Assassin's Creed Origins, you really have no trouble ever completing assassinations. Like, it'll always work. As long as you sneak up on one single enemy, you can get an assassination. The times where assassinations don't work is when you're trying to take down a captain. Captains have increased health bars, and it makes sense that you can't just take them down right away. They're gonna have guards around them. They're gonna have stronger health bars and stuff. Like in a situation where you have really leveled up your assassination skill and you actually get the drop on a captain, it's a really satisfying moment. They actually build that effectively, I think, to where it feels like a overcome challenge if you were to take down a captain with an assassination. So you've built up all your skills and you've snuck up on them. Like, that is an accomplishment in a gameplay aspect that really tickles the neurons, so to speak, in that situation. So, and then in another situation where you do take down the captain, either if you fail or succeed, it usually ends up breaking out into a huge battle. So like that's awesome too. That's not really something to complain about. Like that's a good thing. That's more gameplay. Like being able to fight and battle with enemies in this game is part of the fun. So yes, it is an Assassin's Creed game, and maybe earlier games were kind of focused more on stealth, but they've made so many improvements in the area where you're battling out in the open that it's fun. It's fun. There were health bars in the older games too. People choose to ignore that or forget about it. You have to avoid remembering that in order to really argue that health bars are a bad thing. Health bars have always been in Assassin's Creed games. You have to counter them, you have to guard break them, you have to damage enemies until the health bar reaches 0. Maybe the health bar is hidden, but it is still there because you have to damage an enemy until their health reaches 0 and then they die. The Assassin's Creed series has always been light RPG styles. Most people just weren't paying attention to that. You always had to build into a certain type of skill, like either you chose to fight enemies out in the open or you chose to do stealth. That's role playing. So that's an RPG style sort of game. Don't pay attention to the people on Twitter that are trying to make Assassin's Creed Shadows look bad, because I've had the opportunity to watch some live streams and I know that the game, I've seen actual gameplay of it, like legitimate gameplay, like not just trailers and stuff. The gameplay is good. This game looks amazing, and I feel like every person who would try to call themselves an Assassin's Creed fan should give this game an honest chance. I've pre-ordered it and I'm hoping to get to play it soon in order to deliver more of my own thoughts about it. Those are my thoughts about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this has been Assassin's Creed Origins gameplay. I'm out.